With the 4.04 update, the SP is now able to act like a synthesizer, generating waveforms using Sound Generator. Today we're going to walk through how to create complex multi-oscillator synthesizers using just Sound Generator and merge samples. We'll also discuss using the internal effects for sound design, adding a filter, envelopes. Throughout that, we'll go over synth recipes you can use to design your own synths on the SP404. Timestamps are in the description. Let's get into it. Let's get right into Sound Generator. So we're just gonna hit Shift Record Setting to get right there. And then I find Sound Generator is always super loud. So we're gonna just tone it down quite a bit. What we're gonna do is a sine wave, a triangle wave, and then a very low pulse wave. And I think that's gonna get us something kind of approximating a FM key. And there's a lot we can do in the post. Because as you probably know, when you just export Sound Generator, it kind of sounds like crap because the filter's just wide open. So we're gonna hit the C note because I want everything to be on C, just for chromatic mode later. And we're just gonna record that in. Let's put it on 1. There we go. And then let's go back to this and we're gonna do triangle. I might make a couple extra waveforms or waves just to kind of have it. This triangle is gonna add a little more harmonic content. And then the biggest bit of harmonic content is gonna come from that pulse that we're gonna put, but we're not gonna use a lot of it. That's what I'm saying. When you just hit Sound Generator, it's a little rough, but we'll fix that once we kind of put them all together. Okay, so here's the 3. And that pulse is really loud. That's why we're only going to use a little bit. But we're going to go to Shift Resample. That gets us into Merge Sample. And this is kind of where we can get the more complex sounds. So sine wave, we want it at 100%. Triangle, 100%. This one, though, we want to drop it. Let's do 20%. We'll just put it on 4. And we'll hit Resample. And there we go. So you can hear that higher harmonic content from the triangle and this pulse is there. Still sounds a little wonky. So that's why we're gonna do some effects now. So I think we're gonna do a filter. I've got a subtle LFO on super filter. If you hold down the knob, you can sync it and then rate and depth. So here we go. I've got just a 1-to-1. So it's just slowly opening this filter, which kind of plays with the resonance a little bit. Let's put the depth up to 100 and you'll see what I'm saying. If we drop the cutoff, hear that boom, that's the LFO. So we're gonna go back to 30 though. I just want a little bit. And I think we'll do about 65. Hear it without it, hear it with it. So next up, there's a couple options. I think we will put 404 vinyl sim on it, but that we'll do in bus 3 and 4. Because we're gonna resample this, so I'm trying to figure out what I want to kind of get that more FM piano type sound. Let's do a Juno chorus. We'll stick with Juno 1 and a really low percentage, maybe, yeah, 9. 9 wet. Makes it a little wider, and then also gives it a little detune. So we've got those two. That's the sound. Let's just throw it here so we can kind of hear it really quickly. So it's getting there, but I think we're gonna want bus 3 and 4, and I've got a vinyl sim one. If we just take off the noise, it's adding a little wow and flutter. I've got compressor on there, which is good in terms of like the master track, but I'm wondering if we can get something a little different, maybe lo-fi. Let's do that. Let's resample that. And we'll put it right here. That should do it. And then we need to shut off everything on bus 3 and 4. There we go. I like that. Okay, let's just do a last little bit of cleaning up the sample. We can truncate that. There we go. And then I think we'll want to do a little less hold, maybe a little release. I like that. Let's hear that in chromatic mode. Gotta put it to poly. I think we got it. Let's see. We need a little effect though, you know, to kind of sweeten it up. Maybe Kodama. That's kind of my go-to typically. I think we'll try that. It's always nice to do a really deep sine wave. So we'll put that on 2. Let's go record setting. I think we'll do a saw. So we're gonna up that an octave. That's almost too high though. You know what? We can always do both, right? Oh yeah. Let's just, let's go to merge sample and get these on. and we'll go from there. I think we'll lower the higher octave one a little bit. Okay, so hear that just open filter? That's the one thing I wish you could do. Well, envelopes would be nice because they don't seem to work in Sound Generator, but I wish you could put a filter in Sound Generator before you bake it, because now we have to do it. But that's fine because we can add a couple other things. I'm gonna add that Juno chorus, and I'm almost tempted for 4 and 5. Yeah, okay, we'll go here. We're gonna go to isolator. We're not gonna use it to isolate. We're gonna use it as an equalizer, which I think there is an equalizer in 3 and 4, but that's okay. So we're gonna just change the sound. I'm gonna up the low end a little bit. There we go. And we'll change that filter because I don't know if I want that much LFO on there. On bus 4 though, let's get some warm saturator. And then let's go back into bus 1. Let's fix that LFO to be a lot less. I still want a little bit so that it kind of makes it almost analog or whatever, in the sense that there's always kind of something moving. I think what we can do too though is let's make a faster LFO, maybe. There we go. So it kind of flows a little more. I always forget to extend the length of the Sound Generator though. We probably could use a longer sound. That's decent enough, but when you're using chromatic mode, it's pitching up and down, which alters the speed. So if we start going into higher, it could be a little problematic. But anyways, let's take that and let's resample it. All right, let's go into the start end. Make sure there's no silence at the start. There's a little bit. There we go. And then let's cut that end point. That should work. Let's truncate it and then envelope. I almost want a little attack to kind of sit underneath the kick. Sort of sidechain, or poor man's sidechain, I guess, for the SP404. Would really like to see that added as an effect, but we'll get there, I guess. There's always 5.0, right? I'm gonna start with a saw 2, since we're doing ambient. Let's put that on 1, and then I'm going to copy that, and I'll explain why I'm copying it in a moment. Let's go back in to Sound Generator, and I'm gonna do cosine, which just has a little more character to it compared to sine. So it just gives it a little more. You can even do cosine 2 is, I don't know, not my thing. We're also in octave 2. So let's go make sure we hit C, put that on 2, and then let's copy that. Now, the reason that I copied this, we're gonna make a 4 oscillator synth. And so to do that, the first thing that I wanna do is actually do a couple of tweaks to the samples that we're using. So I'm gonna hit this and go, actually let's go to the duplicate version. If we go into pitch speed, hold shift, we can fine tune the semitones. So I'm gonna just put it up, let's say 0.05. Yeah. So hear how it now has a little more thickness to it, a little more character. The other thing that I'm gonna do, since it's ambient, I want the cosine ones to kind of be the major sound. So I'm gonna put these two left and right to get a little more stereo width. So if we hit shift again, you can see pan. We're gonna go right, let's say 22, and left 22 as well. So we're just adding a little stereo width. So this is what it's gonna sound like in full. And I'm going to then merge all of these together, and that's shift resample. And so we're gonna do these two. And then if we wanted to, I could go and lower the percentage of how much it's gonna get baked into this merged sample. I want to leave everything at 100 this time, so we're just going to do it that way. Once you've got everything set, hit enter, and then choose the pad that you want it to go on. And then you can either hit resample or enter. So I'm going to do that, and here we go. Now, we need to do a little sound design, and so I'm going to put a filter. You can already hear. That's what it sounds like without the filter, just a wide open filter, like if you were on a synth and put the cutoff to just 100. So we'll put that on, and if we hold the enter button, you can see you get an LFO that can treat the cutoff of the filter. I use this all the time. I like to set a slow LFO with just a little depth, so basically the filter's just, instead of staying at 40, it's going to like 42 and then 38, and so it's just kind of moving around a little bit. Oh, one last thing I want to mention too before we get too far ahead of ourselves. In Sound Generator, we're back in Sound Generator, pad lengths. So we're doing ambient, I want a very long pad. Because you can do 2 seconds, you can do much longer than that. So we're gonna do that, and then if we wanna make a pluck sound or something later, I will lower that. I like to have a little pitch warble. So I'm gonna do the 404 with no noise, but just to, you can hear it's warbling the pitch. Okay, we're gonna resample. Okay, now really quickly, let's go into the envelope, shift pitch. Let's add a little envelope, just a little, or attack, I'm sorry. We'll add a little attack, and then I'm gonna go to the edit and zoom in on the end of it, because as you can see, there's a bit of silence at the end, and what I'm gonna do then is go back and just add some release. So this will take 7 seconds, but if we hold this, first of all, you can see it moving, but it's gonna just go down in volume instead of click. There we go. So that, when you're working with a chromatic mode in the SP, it's actually repitching the sample up and down, so the duration of the sample will change. So if we're going to work in higher pitches when we go into chromatic mode, we want a long time so that it's not super short if we're in like a higher octave. Okay, so that is the sound. Now let's do some effects. So I'm going to go Kodama. I think a quarter, listen to that, it pans it. Kodama has a really nice pan effect on the delay. And we're going to make this polyphonic by hitting remain a few times to get to poly mode. Okay, I already like that. And I just updated the SP404 cheat sheet with some chord patterns. So this is actually a minor chord. And I think this is going to be what? G sharp probably? I don't know, whatever. But this would be, this is C minor, this is C major. So if you want to see the different chord patterns you can do, they're in that cheat sheet. The link is in the description. Channel members get it as part of the membership as well. I want a lead. We're gonna stick with that, I think. And then I'm gonna make a lead. I think we'll do a saw. I love saw waves, so, but we're gonna go up to 3, and let's put it here. And now we've got that octave sine wave, so that can kind of add something interesting. But what we're also gonna do is copy to, which is that new saw, and we're going to go into this one, and if we hold shift, we're just going to fine tune it a little bit to get it kind of off. Hear that? It's a little, let me shut off the Kodama, but hear that kind of chorusing effect? So that's kind of, we're just adding a little more thickness to it. So now we'll put those together, and I'm going to put the sine pretty quiet. We'll see, because I really want kind of like a, I want something that stands out from this sound, which is already kind of sine wave-esque, but we'll see. We'll do all of the filtering and all that as well. So let's go shift resample. There we go. And let's go up to that sine wave, which should be, yeah, F1. And we'll just put it at about, let's say 43%. Random number, but that's what we'll do. Let's resample it. Okay, and now let's clear out those two. I'm keeping this one because we still might just go back to that sine wave. We'll see. But from there, let's take that nasty sound and get a filter on there. Okay, see, so I actually think the sine is a little too loud. But that's okay, because I think what we'll just do, maybe we can get away with, if we go to that isolator and warm saturator, wherever that was. Here we go. Let's go kind of change it a little bit. That works. Still not a fan of that sine though, actually, but I deleted those. I was too forward thinking. I deleted those two. So, I mean, we can always remake it. It's no problem. But let's just see how this sounds, and then we can always go back. The other thing I want to do is add, instead of, well, let's try warm saturator. Let's really bring those highs back. Take out those lows a little bit. No, I don't like warm saturator on that. Let's do, I'm thinking that chorus, but maybe this could be interesting when we get it in chromatic mode. Let's see. This is an adventure, right? Let's see what happens. Okay. Hear the difference? Okay. Let's just see when we throw that with Kodama. Let's get back into Sound Generator. So I actually have another sound in my recipes that's using the pulse. Let's do octave 3 and see what happens. So we're going to copy that. We're running out of space on this bank. So then I'm going to copy this, So we're going to do that trick again where we go into the pitch speed. And what do I have? Minus 0.05. So again, this just is going to thicken the sound a little bit. So we're creating a multi-oscillator synth. Here, if we play it alone, it's cool. But you put it together and it's getting a little more gritty, a little more character to it. And then I also want to just add another sound to it, is go back to this and we're going to go to triangle. We could even add a noise just to get kind of like a percussive transience. Let's just put that one in. So here that triangle is just adding another little sound. All right, let's try a noise oscillator or a noise waveform. Let's see what we got. And if we hold shift, you can do this duty cycle. Here it gets it a little more, there's a little more noise to it. I think you hear it more in noise 2. But let's do noise 1, and let's put that on 9. And we'll just put that, we could do this in the merge sample menu and just drop the volume. But that's going to just add a little more of a transient, because I want kind of an arpeggio, a little more of a pluck sound for this one. So let's go shift resample, and put that in. Hit enter. Let's go on 5. And there we go. So now the noise is pretty apparent. Maybe too apparent. So let's actually... So maybe dropping the volume doesn't change. If you're doing merge sample, you have to do it in the merge sample menu. So let's do that one more time. And we'll go and lower this one. I'm talking faint. Let's say like 5%. 6%. Because I'm too lazy to get that perfect. Alright, and we'll put that back on 5. And then let's hear what it sounds like. Yeah, you can barely even hear the noise sound. So now we need to get the filter and all that. So I'm going to... I think what I'm going to do, because I want this to be a pluck. Let's shorten... Yeah, I want it really short. And then we're still going to resample, so it's going to change anyways, but... Let's do isolator, and we'll take out some low end, put the mids to 0, get the highs back, and then let's go to the cassette, and that should work. I always love adding some wow and flutter, and then let's get the filters on. You know, we were doing that Juno. Let's see what happens with Juno. Just a little. I like that. Okay, let's resample and hope we don't hit that bug. Here we go. Okay, so look, you can see here there's actually, let's get back to start end, there's actually a little bit of silence at the start. So here's the percussive sound we got. This was the original without filter and Juno. Let's really quickly go into this noise and let's see which version we like better. Noise 1. It's a little loud, sorry. Or noise 2. And I know those effects are on, but they won't get baked in. Yeah, let's do noise 1. Always drop the octave when it's a sample. Let's put it on 1. Alright, let's really quickly try out that scatter. I like that. That's actually pretty cool. Let's go drop the pitch. Let's see what other, in scatter, what other types. That's really glitchy. And we have depth to 100. We can always tone it down. Okay, so I think 1 is the least glitchy. There we go. Okay. You know what we could do, actually? We don't have to leave it on a bus. We could resample it. Yeah, let's do that, and then we'll see if we can just put that real quiet in the background to add a sort of field recording. And let's, oh, Kodama's on, so let's drop that. Maybe, I'm tempted to add a little distortion, but let's leave it off. And let's just resample it. There we go, okay. And let's try dropping it. But I think that could work in the background, just to add a little depth. All right, so there you have it. There's 5 synth recipes to get started using Sound Generator to make complex multi-oscillator synths. Have you tried using Sound Generator to do this? Do you have any different recipes? I'd love if you'd share them in the comments below. I have these recipes and more in the SP cheat sheet that's linked in the description, but that's how to design synths. But what do you do after you've got the synths? Check out this video next to see 5 ways to make the most out of the SP for beat making. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.